I'm joined now by Zethu Hlatshwayo, who is the spokesperson of the National Association of Artisanal Miners. Zethu, very good afternoon to you. Thanks very much for your time. This is a big number. I mean, 600 people in one weekend.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Pulvuyo, and I mean, good afternoon to your viewers at home. Yes, it is a big number, so that then it shows that the numbers of people that are surviving under artisanal and small-scale mining is unimaginable if you find 500 people just over a weekend. And it also shows the level and the crisis that you are in with the issues of unemployment and joblessness, poverty, basically. So people have really no options but to find some way of putting bread on the table. So you will expect that the numbers will grow because as an informal sector, you don't know all the numbers of how much artisanal mining is contributing to the communities until such cases come to our attention. But there's many more artisanal miners that are participating and surviving on the sector.
Well, clearly, I mean, there seems to be no intention on the part of authorities to actually deal with the underlying issues here, because clearly these people they are choosing this dangerous way of making money because clearly they have no options.
Yes, no, most definitely. That I can concur with. I think one of the things that are missing that we are crying about as the National Association of Artisanal Miners is the issue that when the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy, or by then, was doing the public consultations on the ASM policy, NAM was represented in all the public participations, and we made submissions, and we also requested for a grace period to say, before you can implement this strategy of such as Vala Umgodi, we should make sure that the branches that are formalizing themselves, that are willing to participate, to go the legal route, are given an opportunity to register themselves so that they can have permits and they cannot be impacted by what is happening. But the government moved on with the operation without also an implementation strategy in place to make sure that those people who want to honestly put bread on the table are also fast-tracked in the process of getting permits. But now, as I'm speaking to you, none of the branches in South Africa have received permits ever since the Gazette, because that process has just come to a grinding halt. But we want to also urge to say, let's put the same effort to the government, not on arrest and illegal, on arrest of artisanal miners. But let's put effort on making sure that the implementation of the ASM policy is implemented with speed so that we can be able to differentiate between honest people and criminals. But further than that, I want to also maybe raise that there are processes that are in place. I mean, as NAM, we are involved with the National Action Plan because South Africa is a signatory of the Minamata Convention, you know, and we are working with the United Nations, the DFFE, Minerals Council, and all other stakeholders that on formalization. But now that process can be complemented if all role players are playing in the same room, and we are all working collaboratively to make sure that the permitting of artisanal mining is fast-tracked. Because, I mean, we did ask for the grace period, but it never came. But now we are requesting to say, instead of having the Operation Vala Umgodi alone, we need to complement it with making sure that we fast-track the formalization of this sector. I think there is also developments regarding, we do have something that is called the roundtable on artisanal and small-scale mining that we are working on with Bomema Fumadi from Mintech and Project Matebula from MQA. We really recommend those, but we need more stakeholders to also come in place so that we can be able to make sure that we cover all the areas of the interest and aspiration of artisanal miners. But maybe lastly, I think all effort has been put on the man on the ground, the man that is poor, the man that is trying to survive. We are not putting much attention on the people who left the mine, who didn't rehabilitate the mine, and we're not putting attention on them to make sure that they are also held to account. we are not putting the people, those people into account. So that means our approach is one-sided, and we are targeting the weakest, and we are not dealing with the problem, because this is unsustainable, this Operation Vala Umgodi, because artisanal miners will always be there because they survive there. And for the government, they spent billions last year. They also have to add this year. So if you look, in 10 years, we will spend a lot of money, and that money is nothing compared to what South Africa was losing. So what you are proposing, you are saying that we need to make sure that we implement this ASM policy with speed, with all the role players participating meaningfully, to make sure that we put dignity back into the life of the artisanal miner that is working on the ground.
Why do you think the government is reluctant to act on your recommendations?
Well, I think for starters, it will be the challenge that they are facing as government, which is, limitations when it comes to the people that are needed. We have one ASM directorate, one and Zethu, who's very much helpful and assisting. Is always on the meetings, because we also have meetings with the DMRE on a month-to-month basis to make sure that we come up with a framework that will work for everyone. But the problem is one man, and is also in charge of Gauteng. Now, in all the provinces, there are mines that are there. We need to have more than one person so that we can be able to implement this policy with speed. So that is the challenge of the government, and it's also the problem of holding these people to account. That's another challenge of the government, of having not enough personnel, skilled personnel on all the areas to make sure that, for artisanal miners, it will make sense if you go to DMRE and it's a one-stop shop where you can get all the necessary documentation to support your application, and your application is treated with respect, is treated with agency, and is treated with honest approach to make sure that we make this implementation and the permitting an easier and cheaper process for artisanal miners. That is the one challenge that we are thinking of.